Hello, I am Bea and I will be your counselor. I'm glad you could come in today for this session. I would like to inform you the process of intake, so I will ask you a certain questions regarding your personal background and emotionally oriented questions about yourself.
Okay,
If any of my questions make you feel uncomfortable, please let me know. If you don't want to talk about it right now, then we don't have to talk about it. Or if you want to talk about it later, then we can talk about it in later sessions.
okay.
Okay, so let's start. How are you feeling right now?
Well, I'm okay. A bit nervous because this is my first counseling session.
That's okay, we can work on that. You just have to be yourself.
Okay,
So, this is your first counseling session.
yeah.
How do you feel about it so far?
Well, it's great actually. It's not as bad as others say.
That's good to know. In this session, you can think of me as a friend. You don't have to feel intimidated, okay?
Yeah, okay.
So, how are you referred here?
I have this friend and she told me that she's really concerned about me. So she suggested that I come here and she noticed that I was feeling down lately.
So, you were referred by your friend. Do you feel committed to counseling?
Well, I guess I do have problems that needs to be addressed and this might help me.
Okay, so I want to talk about presenting your problems or issues that might be going on in your life. Can you talk about any of those?
I feel really down and for some reason I feel stuck and I don't know why.
Okay, so you feel down, stuck, and you're confused as to why it is happening. Anything else?
Well, this is something I try to stop but I can't seem to control myself every time it happens. I tend to think of harming myself because I just want the hollow feeling disappear.
Do these thoughts often occur?
It mostly occurs when I feel really sad and I don't understand why it is happening. I feel hopeless and I keep asking myself, what's the point? Like if it's not going to get better, then why bother going through it? I'm just tired of the empty feeling and I just want to escape from that feeling. And it's exhausting to be honest. And it's hard to just shake it off.
Yes, of course. So when these thoughts show up, could you rate how strong they are from 1 to 10?
I would probably say around 6 or 7. The thoughts are pretty strong, but I can still manage to not entertain them.
Okay, so it's around the middle range, and those thoughts show up because you feel helpless or stuck, which you don't know why it happens.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you have any suspicions of what might be causing it?
Well, I feel very isolated lately because of this pandemic and I mostly stay at home. It's hard and there's not a lot of people I can spend my time with. Ever since then, I don't really feel like doing much and then I start to lose motivation to do things. And if I do something, I feel like I'm just forced to do it.
How long have you been staying at home?
Probably ever since the pandemic happened. I have more time to myself, but it became tiring because my routines keep repeating. It's like I don't want to do anything, and it's also frustrating because there's nothing to do.
All right, so you're frustrated with your situation and yourself a little bit.
Yeah, I think I'm a lot more frustrated with myself because I know I would feel better if I find something to do with my time, but I don't want to at the same time.
So you're not motivated.
Yeah, I'm not motivated.
Have you received any feedback from your family who noticed that you are down?
Yeah, my mom. She has noticed because she's at home with me, and she told me I'm not doing as much, and I think she's also frustrated with my situation. So it hurts because it's like she's telling me that I'm lazy and that I'm not doing enough, and that and there's that feeling that nobody really understands me.
Did she directly tell you that you are lazy?
No, not that I can remember. I think my mom said that I'm not doing as much as I used to, and I kind of took offense to that. And yeah, it hurt.
Okay, that was painful for you. What more did your mom tell you?
She's been saying that she needs me to do more.
And what was your response to that?
So I started crying because I know she's right, and that's what I tell myself every day. But I don't have the motivation to do it, so I'm so frustrated with myself because I feel stuck.
Okay, so you're frustrated for feeling down and for lacking motivation.
Yeah,
And a few years ago, you didn't feel this way at all.
yeah. I actually think I started feeling this way 6 months after the pandemic has started, and it didn't get any better ever since.
Okay, so let's shift the topic a little. Can you tell me a recent day that you don't feel motivated or that you're feeling down?
Sure. So on Monday, I was having a really hard time getting out of bed. I felt really bad for not having the motivation to get up, so I just stayed in bed half of the day. And I decided to get up at noon to do some school activities, but I ended up staring at my laptop for like 2 to 3 hours. I just sat there doing nothing. And when the day ended, I felt worse because I haven't been productive, and it's frustrating because I can't seem to get out of it.
All right, so this happened recently, right?
Yeah.
What would you do on that same day that you wish you could have done?
Well, I wish that I could have woken up early and do some morning exercise. And then after that, I'll eat breakfast with my mom so we could talk about random stuff. Then after breakfast, I'll start doing my school activities and attend online meetings for school lectures. Then after I'm done with class and school activities, I could help my mom cook, and then we'll eat together. And then I could have some time for myself before I go to bed, like, you know, watch some movies and stuff. Or I could create a list of the things that I'll do for the whole week just so I could be guided with what I can do for the day. Then I'll sleep early and wake up early the next day.
All right, so there's fairly a wide discrepancy to where you are in terms of your current behavior and where you really want to be. So let me ask you this specific question. You have mentioned that when it was time to get up, you didn't. How did you feel allowing that to happen? Because clearly, that's not what you wanted to happen, which is why you're frustrated. How did you feel about that?
So what happened was that I heard the alarm that it's time to get off of bed. But I just look at the clock and it's like, what's the point? It's just this instant feeling of pointlessness of getting up. So I just laid there and I feel worse for doing it. I just don't want to get up. But if I don't, I feel bad and I feel guilty.
Okay, so not getting up of the time you want, you feel guilty. But you also mentioned something about a thought which you ask yourself, what's the point? Can you explain that?
It's just that when I'm sleeping, I don't realize how sad I am. And I don't realize how hard it is to function. When I'm sleeping, I'm not aware of that. And as soon as I wake up, I am. And so I just have this kind of thought of what's the point of getting up and experiencing these feelings when I could go back to sleep and not have to.
So you mean to say that What's the point of getting up when sleeping could keep the pain away? But then, when you do it, get up, you feel sad and guilty about oversleeping.
Yeah, exactly.
So what you really want to do is to delay the experience of pain or, as you said, the empty feeling you want to escape from. But you're not really escaping the pain because it returns once you wake up.
Yeah,
Before, when you felt more satisfaction and purpose in your life, do you get up early?
yeah. It felt easy because when I wake up, I'll say, okay, it's time to wake up and be productive. I would be glad to wake up and look forward for the things I'll do for the day.
Okay, so maybe what's going on here is that the behavior that's useful has to come first, even if the feeling doesn't match. Sleeping delays you from feeling sad, and if you were to get up early, you'll still feel sad. But the functional part of your life, which is to do your responsibilities as a student, would be fulfilled. So maybe those feelings of sadness and guilt would lessen over time because you were able to function and do your tasks.
Yeah, maybe that's it.
What's tough about that is that you'll face the same challenge of waking up feeling sad or unmotivated. But what you can think of is that you can wake up now and let yourself be sad, or you can wait and delay it. But regardless, you'll still feel it because you know it's there. But despite of that feeling, you still know what you're moving towards because you have tasks to finish.
I guess I never really thought of it like that. I just thought that if I'm waking up at the right time and I just feel bad, then I'll sleep it up. But I guess it makes sense because even if I don't feel like doing it, maybe it will make me feel better if I actually did, even though it's hard.
Well, it seems like you're trying to make it worse because you avoid the pain. But you're still suffering, so you're making the pain worse. You're just delaying it a little bit.
Yeah, I guess I'm making it worse.
So when you had that thought that you can avoid the pain if you sleep a little while longer, you're also trying to minimize the benefit of getting up.
Yes, because I also think that it wouldn't be beneficial to get up.
What adaptive responses could you apply in that moment when you get up in the morning and then a thought comes in that it doesn't really matter if you get up?
I can tell myself that I could do this instead of asking myself, what's the point? I guess I could just say that I can do this. I can get out of it. I'm strong enough and everything's going to be okay.
Okay, so that would be your response. You'll tell yourself that you are strong enough and you can do this even though it will be difficult.
Yeah,
Okay, how about the value of getting up early and doing your responsibilities as a student? Your thoughts right now is telling you that it's not valuable because you have no motivation. But I think you believe that it is valuable.
it's very valuable. I guess what my frustration is that I know it's valuable, but I'm not getting the same satisfaction and purpose that I had before. Maybe I need to realize that even though I'm not getting it right now, if I keep trying, maybe I can find that satisfaction and purpose again.
Well, it's logical because you will have a higher probability of finding that purpose again if you pick yourself up and start the day.
I guess that's true. I will never get the satisfaction and purpose that I want if I refuse to do the things that made me find it.
So even though starting another day is painful and getting up feels like it's draining your energy, logically you know that it would help you. I think with what you're experiencing right now, what you're going through is probably depression. And sometimes with depression, you just have to get one thing going your way each day. You don't have to do so much on a single day. It's more like today you'll do this one thing and then do another the next. It's about the small victories you can do each day.
Yeah, okay.
And when you think of negative thoughts, You just have to keep doing those adaptive responses, reminding yourself that you're strong enough to handle this. You can just think about it, but sometimes it's helpful to say it out loud.
Yeah, like not letting the negative thoughts take over. I'll just have to keep reminding myself that I have to try, and if I did accomplish something, then maybe I'll be able to feel a bit better.
So you have established your adaptive responses and you know what you want to do. I'll see you again in a week. That would be 7 days before I meet you again, and in those days, I want you to try and pick yourself up a little by little. And I want to remind you that during those days, you may not succeed every day, but that's okay.
Okay.
Don't let the setbacks stop the progress you did. It's a day by day battle. Stop worrying about the future and stop worrying about the past. So try to be present at the moment. Recite those adaptive responses and try to push through. Can you try that?
Yeah, I can. Thank you.
Work on that and I'll see you next week. Hello, Angela. How have you been?
I've been well.
That's good to know. So, picking up where we left off during the last session, how did you do during the past week?
Well, I can say that I'm doing better because there's still a lot going on, but I did notice some subtle changes with how I manage myself.
Can you elaborate on that?
Every time I wake up in the morning, I used to ask myself if the day will be worth it, then I'll decide whether to get off or not. But after our first session, I just decided to get up without thinking about how the day will go. I stopped trying to make sense of the things I can control and just let myself live in the moment.
Okay, that's a good progress. Anything else?
I started eating on time. So back then, because I used to wake up late, I would miss breakfast and sometimes even lunch. I'm slowly learning to manage my time without worrying too much about what might happen.
It's good to hear that there are some changes in your behavior. It may be subtle, but it's still a good start.
Um, I do have an issue I want to talk about. So I mentioned in the last session that I tend to think about harming myself when I'm overwhelmed with my emotions. I've been trying to stop it, but it never does. I want to stop those thoughts before it worsens. I'm scared of what I might do if it does become worse.
Okay, so just a recap of our first session. You briefly talked about your thoughts of harming yourself, which is caused by the changes in your mood. How did you manage your mood for the past week?
The first session did help with my depression. The negative thoughts stopped for a while because of the adaptive response that you instructed me to do. But there was an instance when I was overwhelmed with my emotions and then my mind went blank. I didn't know what I could do to stop it.
Can you tell me more about what happened?
Okay, so it happened on Thursday. My mom went out to buy some groceries and I was left alone in the house. I had a lot of free time, so I tried reaching out to my friends, but none of them were answering my messages. And then I felt like I was isolated because my friends are busy and I'm just there figuring out what I have to do. Then I felt really sad and lonely because there was no one in the house. I felt so alone. Then thoughts of harming myself kept showing up and I didn't know what to do. So I just sat there until my mom arrived.
During that episode, how low did you feel?
I felt really low. I can't seem to pick myself up. My emotions were overwhelming, but my mind was blank. And it was terrifying because I didn't know what to do. And then I started to ask myself that I thought I was getting better, but I'm stuck in this place again. Suddenly, all the progress I made became irrelevant.
Let's sort out those emotions. At that time, what emotions did you feel?
Well, I'm mostly sad, lonely, somehow confused, a bit angry because no one was answering my messages, pity for myself, and hopeless because I don't know what to do.
Okay, so those emotions trigger thoughts of harming yourself. So can we talk about those thoughts themselves before you signed up for counseling? How often do these thoughts occur?
They show up more frequently than I'm comfortable with. It usually occurs once or twice a day.
When those thoughts show up, what do you usually do to stop it?
Well, I just wait until it stops. Like when I'm doing something and those thoughts suddenly show up, I stop what I'm doing. I just stay there and try to stop myself from doing anything. As much as possible, I try to control myself.
By trying to control yourself, it means you really don't want to do it, but those thoughts show up because there's something in you that you want to get rid of, and those are the overwhelming emotions that you feel.
Yes, exactly. But sometimes I get scared that I will if I continue to ignore it without doing anything to solve it.
What is the reason why, as much as possible, you try to stop yourself from doing the thoughts of harming yourself?
Well, I always think that somehow things will get better, that it will eventually stop and everything goes back to normal. I also think about what my mom will feel if I disappear or if I harm myself. She will be upset and I don't I don't want that.
Was there an instance when you almost did what your thoughts were telling you?
Sometimes I look for the knives and sometimes I try to hit myself, but I'm scared to do it. I'm afraid that my emotions will eventually take over and it even scares me to think about the things I'll do to myself if it did take over me.
So, we talked about depression during our first session. If the depression goes away, do you think that would stop the thoughts of harming yourself from showing up?
Yes, definitely. The reason why those thoughts show up because I just feel so overwhelmed with my emotions and they're out of control. I wake up feeling so down and useless that it makes me wish that I don't want to continue anymore. But I know that my life has value. I know there's a future for me, but my emotions make me feel like my future is pointless.
These thoughts that you are having are fairly common with depression. It sounds like you're frustrated and tired of these emotions. You made a valid point when you said that your life has value. You have a purpose. You may have lost it now, but you're working on your way to find it again. Now, I want you to try and hang on to that thought.
Yeah, okay.
So, after we're done here today, tell me what you plan on doing for the rest of the day.
I don't really have a plan in mind because I cleared my schedule to come here, so I'm not I'm not really sure.
Will your mom be busy the whole day?
Well, she mostly stays at home, so maybe I could spend the rest of the day with her. Probably cook some stuff or watch some movies with her. Or we could talk about some random things, just to spend time with her.
Okay. Can you do that for me? Can you spend time with your mom?
Yeah, I could do that.
So I want you to stay with your mom. Please don't let yourself be alone in the meantime, given the thoughts you have lately. It would be wiser to connect with people around you.
Okay.
So have you heard about the term contract for safety?
No. This is the first time that I heard of it.
Okay, so what it means is that you promise me that you are going to be safe until I see you again. I want this to be authentic and true. If you have any intent of harming yourself, I want you to think about what you said that your life has value. I want to hold out on that. Can you promise me that you'll do that?
Yeah, I promise.
Okay, so I'll see you in a week or earlier if you feel the need to. So that's it for the session.
Thank you.